Fangs and Paws, a perfect match. Chapter 4. A Fairy Godmother in the Concrete Jungle. The sun hung low over Clayton Central Park like a lazy golden orb, casting long shadows across the manicured lawns and winding paths. It was one of those crisp autumn afternoons where the air smelled of fallen leaves and distant hot dog vendors, the kind that made mothers herd their kids closer while dads pretended to read newspapers on benches. Little Timmy Wilkins, age 5 3/4, a distinction he insisted on, had other plans. One moment, he was supposed to be feeding the ducks by the pond. The next, he was running off toward a cluster of ancient oaks, drawn by the inexplicable pull of childhood curiosity. That's when it happened. A crackle split the air, like the world's largest Jacob's Ladder experiment gone gloriously wrong. Sparks danced in a swirling vortex of electric blue and violet, humming with an otherworldly energy that made the nearby pigeons scatter in a feathery panic. From the heart of the maelstrom stepped Cynthia, her magical girl ensemble fluttering like a banner in a gentle breeze that hadn't been there a second before. Her outfit was a masterpiece of enchanted whimsy, a frilly pink and lavender dress that shimmered with embedded starlight crystals, high boots and thigh-high stockings laced with glowing runes. Her hair, a cascade of orange waves, framed a face that could launch 1,000 fairy tales. Porcelain skin, eyes like polished sapphires. Timmy's jaw dropped so fast it nearly collected acorns. "Whoa," he whispered, his tiny fists clutching the hem of his Spider-Man hoodie. This wasn't a duck. This was magic.
"Timmy!" A frantic voice pierced the spell. Mrs. Wilkins, Lydia to her book club, but Mommy to the world, barreled through the underbrush like a caffeinated gazelle, her sensible flats kicking up mulch. She scooped Timmy into a bear hug that smelled of lavender lotion and mild panic. "Don't you ever run off like that again. What if you'd fallen in the—" "Mommy! Look, it's my fairy godmother!" Timmy wriggled free, jabbing a chubby finger at the apparition. His eyes were saucers of pure, unfiltered awe. Lydia blinked, following his gaze. There, amid the dissipating wisps of ozone-scented smoke, stood the most breathtaking woman she'd ever seen, ethereal, elegant, and dressed like she'd stepped straight out of a high-budget fantasy convention. "Oh, my," Lydia breathed, her scolding forgotten. The woman's beauty was the sort that made you question your own moisturizer routine. And that costume, the intricate embroidery, the way the fabric caught the light like it was woven from dreams. Well, sweetheart, she's definitely as beautiful as a fairy godmother, that's for sure. But you know what she is? She's a cosplayer. Her costume is just, wow, absolutely wonderful. Like professional level wonderful. Cynthia, still disoriented from her interdimensional hop, teleportation spells were such a headache on an empty stomach, blinked at the pair. The park around her was a riot of green and gold, but the air hummed with unfamiliar scents. Exhaust? Fried something? And these people, the mother in her flowing blouse and jeans, the child in his garish red and blue garb, no suits, no dresses. Progress, she supposed.
Straightening her dress with a flourish,
She offered a warm smile. "Hello, I am Cynthia. Might you know what realm is this?" "Hi, fairy godmother," Timmy bellowed so enthusiastically he nearly toppled backward. Lydia chuckled, flushing pink as she extended a hand. "I'm Lydia Wilkins, and this little tornado is Timmy. Oh my gosh, your cosplay is insane! The details! That dress, did you make it yourself? It's like something out of Sailor Moon meets Wonder Woman. I mean, the sequins alone must have taken weeks." Cynthia tilted her head. "Cosplay? Is that a local custom? A ritual of disguise, perhaps? I assure you, this is no mere garb, Nya. It's woven from moon silk and star threads." Lydia's eyes sparkled with geeky delight. "Oh, honey, if only more people put this much heart into it. Timmy, say bye-bye. We've got to get home before dinner turns into a tragedy." She tugged Timmy's arm gently. "It was so nice meeting you, Cynthia. Keep slaying those conventions." As they hurried off, Timmy twisted in her grip, hollering back, "Bye, fairy godmother. Can you turn my broccoli into pizza next time?"
Cynthia waved, a bemused smile tugging at her lips. "What just happened?" she murmured to the empty air. The park felt oddly serene here in this secluded glade. No fey courts, no scheming warlocks, just quiet. But then, faintly, she caught it. The distant rumble of thunder? No. Growling beasts? She strained her ears. Horns? Chatter? The clamor of 1,000 voices, mechanical whirs, and something that sounded suspiciously like a marketplace on market day, but louder, much louder. Curiosity that she hoped wouldn't kill her beckoned. Cynthia gathered her skirts and ventured toward the noise, emerging from the tree line onto a sun-dappled sidewalk. And there it was, Clayton's beating heart. Skyscrapers clawed at the sky like silver fingers. Streets teemed with gleaming metal chariots. Cars, she'd later learn, zipping along in orderly chaos. People strode purposefully, many pressing flat, glowing rectangles to their ears, chattering into them like deranged oracles. "No, Karen, I said almond milk." Yeah, traffic's a nightmare. Cynthia's eyes widened. The last human city she'd visited was similar, but of cobblestones and horse-drawn carts, without tall glass buildings, just ones of brick and stone. This was sorcery on a grand scale. Those cars, self-propelled behemoths without a single enchanted rune in sight. And the rectangles? Tiny scrying mirrors? Communication talismans? She edged closer to a young woman in yoga pants, peering shamelessly. The device lit up with colors, voices, tinny and distant. Magic, Cynthia thought, heart aflutter.
Everywhere. Heads began to turn. Whispers rippled like pond stones. Cynthia was, after all, a vision, tall and graceful, her outfit a beacon of fantasy and glamour amid the hoodies and sneakers. A construction worker on lunch break nearly dropped his sandwich. A jogger slowed to a halt, earbuds dangling like forgotten jewelry. Is that cosplay in broad daylight? Emboldened by the stares, flattery was a universal language, Cynthia stepped off the curb, aiming for what looked like a promising alley of shops across the street. She made it 2 paces before the world erupted. Honk, honk. A silver sedan screeched to a halt inches from her boots, its horn blaring like a wounded dragon. The driver, a harried man in a tie, leaned out the window, face purple. "Hey, watch where you're going, lady! You trying to get pancaked?" "Stop! Use the crosswalk!" yelled a pedestrian, waving frantically from the sidewalk. Cynthia yelped, "Nah!" leaping back like a startled doe with her orange tail standing straight up in fright. Her dress snagged on a lamppost, sending her tumbling into a heap of frills and indignation. A chorus of admonishments followed. "Jaywalking's illegal, you know." "Girl, that outfit's fire, but your survival instincts? Not so much." Red-faced and minus a few dignity points, Cynthia retreated to a nearby bench, smoothing her skirts with trembling hands. Jaywalking? What fresh nonsense was this?
She watched, chin in hand, as a gaggle of office workers clustered at a green box on a pole at the street corner. A red hand glowed sternly on a pole. "Halt," it commanded. Then, with a cheery beep, it flipped to a striding white figure. The crowd surged forward en masse, a human tide pouring across the asphalt unharmed. "Ah," Cynthia murmured, nodding sagely. "A communal rite. The red sentinel guards. The white warrior permits passage. Clever nya." She wasn't alone for long. A teen in a beanie sidled up, phone already out. "Yo, that cosplay is chef's kiss. Mind if I snap a pic for the gram?" "Pic?" Cynthia echoed, but the boy was already posing, arms slung around her shoulders. A woman joined, then a dad with a stroller. "Say anime," they chorused. A flash, blinding, instantaneous. Cynthia blinked spots from her vision as the dad thrust his rectangle under her nose. There they were, tiny, vivid versions of themselves, grinning back from a glowing screen. "By the stars!" she gasped, poking the image. It didn't move. A pocket portrait, in color. Her last visit to the human world had cameras that took black and white pictures that needed to be developed from film before you could see an image. The crowd grew. "What's your handle? You from that new isekai drop? Ooh, is this original OC or fan art of Magical Girl Mayhem? Fellow otaku here, love the vibe." Cynthia stammered, "Isekai? Otaku? Nya, I represent the realm of the Katsu. I am their queen?" Blank stares, then excited nods. A few laughed. "Katsu? Like a pork cutlet? Wonderful! You're blowing up online already. Check TikTok." Perplexed but polite, Cynthia let the questions wash over her like a babbling brook. When the crosswalk's white figure beckoned once more, she piped up amid the chatter. "Pardon, but the warrior signals. Shall we proceed, nya?" The group blinked, then shuffled forward, still debating her character arc, as cars idled patiently. Hunger soon gnawed at her. Teleportation always did that. Clutching her pouch of gold coins, each bearing her royal profile on one side, a playful cat batting a ball of yarn on the other, Cynthia wandered into Clayton's bustling food district. Street carts hawked delights that made her mouth water, sizzling skewers, fluffy pastries, and towers of fried temptation. At the first cart, a taco stand run by a no-nonsense abuela, she proffered a coin. "Yeah, good sir, madam, this should cover whatever this is." The vendor squinted at the gleaming disc. "Lady, this ain't change. It's, fancy prop money?" No, Cynthia insisted. "Pure aurum, nya, from the Royal Mint." The crowd behind her erupted. "Wait, is that real gold? Dude, I'll spot her tacos if she lets me get a selfie. And can I keep the coin?" A lanky college kid thrust forward his phone, grinning maniacally. Cynthia, obliging, posed with a taco mid-bite, cheese stringing comically from her lip. The coin changed hands, the kid whooped, vanishing into the crowd. Not all were so skeptical.
At a gelato shop, the barista, a pierced 20-something with a soft spot for vintage fantasy, pocketed the coin with a wink. "On the house, milady. Try the pistachio. It's enchanted." Cynthia savored scoop after scoop. First, a creamy tiramisu that tasted like caffeinated clouds. Then stracciatella, dotted with chocolate shards like buried treasure. Finally, a wild berry sorbetto that burst on her tongue like summer fireworks. Each bite was a revelation, paid in gold and giggles. Word spread faster than spilled syrup. By her third stop, a bakery oozing cinnamon, a small crowd had formed. "That's her, the gold coin cosplay queen!" Phones flashed, coins circulated. Only later, melting down their souvenirs at a pawn shop, did the recipients realize their windfalls. Ounces of 24-karat history. "Holy crap," the taco guy posted online. "I just bought a portal to Narnia with street meat." Cynthia's face, regal and baffled, went viral, captioned #Fairy Godmother Jaywalker. Amid the frenzy, the otakus latched on like barnacles. You're repping that aesthetic? Classic. Anime's basically magical girls fighting evil in modern worlds. Teleports, transformations, the works. Squeals of joy erupted from the crowds every time Cynthia said, "Nya," in a sentence. One, a bubbly girl named Mia with cat ear headphones, gushed, "There's this shop everyone dies for, Neko Nook. Manga, merch, the best mochi. It's like otaku heaven." Cynthia's ears perked. Neko? Cat? More of these so-called otakus who worshipped a place called Japan? "Pray, where might I find this Neko Nook? Nya?" A 30-minute walk, past the arcade. Mia sketched a hasty map on a napkin. "Tell 'em Mia sent you. And get the Magical Cat Maid series. It's you." As the sun dipped toward twilight, painting the skyline in oranges and purples, Cynthia, fully determined, set off. The city thrummed around her, horns honking in sympathy, pedestrians waving like old friends. Confused? Utterly. But the desserts danced in her belly, the cell phone dreams flickered in her mind, and a headlight answers wrapped in cat-themed wonder. Little did she know, Clayton's night was just beginning to purr.